welcome to our midweek service. We continue with our talks, psychological talks, and we have been doing a series on parenting and especially during difficult times, and we are targeting the COVID-19. Last week we looked at how to provide for our children, providing the physical care, and we mentioned education as one of the physical care that we need to provide for our children. And I remember saying that we need to do a series on just providing education as one of the physical care of our children. So welcome, that will be our topic today. My name is still Susan Kibe from Anglican Church of Kenya, St. Christopher, Mathare North. And of course, with the blessings of the Vicar, Reverend Michael Kibe Gakuo. During the week, I had opportunity to watch a clip that had been sent by somebody in one of the WhatsApp groups. And the clip was showing our CS for education, Professor Makoha, and he was opening a secondary school teachers seminar workshop that was in Mombasa. I know this was for probably previous years, maybe last year. And it was interesting because he talked about parents being the primary teachers of our children. And he really stressed that children are not benefiting, or they are not working optimally in school because they haven't gotten that primary teaching from the home. And he even went ahead and said that we need parents to teach children on how to do housework, because he was saying some of the housework that is done in the home enables the child to acquire skills so that even when they go to school, they are able to do the basic skills. So I found it very interesting because this is someone who is in the formal education and is actually talking about informal education to be provided by the parents. And that gave me confidence and courage to continue with the preparation of the topic that I am handling right now. So I want us to look at how parents could provide holistic education to children, and especially in these tough times of COVID-19. Of course, reminding ourselves that our end product as we parent is this child who should be totally developed, independent, and a responsible citizen. Remember, we said we look at the end, and that end is the one that is going to give us a clear picture of whether we have been successful as parents. If you remember, I told you that success of parents cannot be measured on a one-time event. It is continuous and continuous and continuous. So when we say talk of education, we are looking at how can we provide knowledge, yeah? How can we help our children to achieve knowledge, values, skills, beliefs, and moral habits, yeah? So that this holistic development of the child that we are talking about is dependent on some on information that they are going to receive. So how can the parents be able to provide, yeah, or to enable the children to achieve this kind of knowledge? Remember, we have said it is knowledge, values, skills, beliefs, and even moral habits. And as I have just mentioned, education takes place both in a formal way, and when we talk of formal education, we mean, education that is institutionalized. Yeah, so a person is put in an institution so that they can be able to be given knowledge that follows a particular curriculum, a particular laid down curriculum. And this one is where we take the children to schools, we take them to college, primary school, secondary school, college, university, and so on and so forth. And this is a good place, yeah, because it is institutionalized. There is a curriculum that has been set forth to be able to prepare the children in an orderly manner. Okay, but we need to remember that formal education normally prepares our children for career, for being able to do the jobs, that they are paid for. Okay, so formal education prepares children for work and for career, and it is a good thing, because eventually a child having a good job, a good career, is the one that enables the independence that we are talking about. But that is not all, and I think parents, that is where we are going wrong, because once we send them to these institutions, we totally separate ourselves from any other form of education of the child, and we believe that those institutions are going to provide holistic education for the child. So allow me to just mention here that we also have informal education, and I will be spending probably a little bit of more time on the informal education, but let me first finish on the formal education, because we parents work hand in hand with the teachers in terms of provision of the formal education. And especially during these tough times, because the kind of education that is being provided now, especially by the Ministry of Education, is being provided through electronic media, through information and technology media. So the child is not necessarily going to the school, but they are supposed to learn even from the house. And all that the parents are supposed to do now is to provide first the gadgets that are needed. And here I want to pray that everybody, every parent is able to provide the gadget that is required. And there are some applications that the Ministry of Education is using. I'm hearing that Zoom is the most used application, and Zoom, you can access Zoom even from a small phone, a smartphone. So you really don't need a laptop, you don't need an iPad, you don't need a computer. All you need is an iPhone, a phone that has a screen, and then to be able to download that particular application. And I hear that there are some subsidized rates even for network that are being provided. So I want to urge you parents, kindly enable your child to be able to access the education that is being provided through the social media, so that the child does not forget what they had already been taught, and so that our memories have a way of forgetting when they are not being put into use. We actually call it the disuse model. So don't say that you will wait until when the schools resume. No, let your child be able to access, let your child be able to see what is being offered there, be able to read. And then the other very important aspect for you parents to be able to do is that this particular education requires a lot of supervision from you as the parent, because you need to be able to supervise. Is the child downloading the material? Is the child reading the material? Is the child doing the assignments that are being put there in the social media? Are they doing the assignments? Are they sending back the assignments to be marked? Some of the assignments, I hear the parents are being asked to mark, and then they send the results to the teacher. So how I wish and pray that parents do not allow there to be a gap in your child's formal education. Provide the necessary gadgets, provide the necessary resources. Another very important resource for the formal education at this particular point in time is that you need to ensure that your child is having a timetable, because remember we said that they also need to do those other activities which we said are very important. And when I do the informal education, I will remind you of some of those activities. Therefore, ensure they have a timetable, ensure they stick to the timetable. Remember, we said ensure they have a space at a corner in the house. Yeah, if you can be able to get a chair, or a desk would be the perfect thing, and ensure that your child is sitting down. I hear that some of those lessons, in total, they are taking only 2 hours. So ensure that your child has some 2 hours where they engage with this educative material. Sometimes you need to mark, ensure that you mark in good time. If there is any diary to be signed, sign the diary, as in show interest. Yeah, show interest in the formal education of your child. Okay, read in advance, because sometimes some of the questions the child might come to ask you, yeah, to maybe the instructions are not clear, or they have not yet understood the concept very well, and they come to ask you. Kindly read in advance. Okay, read in advance. One of the things that children laugh at parents, yeah, is that the parents do not even know what is being read by the child, yeah, and then they assume you when you cannot be able to offer help. So read in advance, yeah, invest some time, yeah, and some of your energy into just gaining interest in what your child is doing. Maybe the only last thing to say on this one is that your attitude as the parent is very critical. Your attitude about the formal education of your child is very critical. And this one, you will need to have a positive attitude both now and even later when the schools open. What do I mean by the right attitude? Having the right attitude towards the curriculum, having the right attitude towards the teachers, having the right attitude towards whatever is being learned, even towards the school where your child is in. Yeah. So, kindly parents, do not talk negatively, yeah, about the education of your children. Yeah, you know, sometimes, oh, this is too much, and especially with the CBC curriculum, yeah, I had parents really making noise, complaining, too much work, we don't have time for this, why is the teacher giving us, downloading some of their work to us as parents? Please, do not be negative in front of your children. In fact, if you were to ask me, this CBC, I think it is excellent. I have a friend of mine who, because of the nature of the work of the husband, they relocated and they are in the United States right now. And the other day she had sent something on Facebook, a short clip of her child who is in equivalent of class 3. And the child can already bake a cake, can already bake some bread, and she showed the clip. Then when I told her, wow, that is excellent, she said, this is part of the education, yeah, that you are supposed to take that clip, and the child is supposed to follow instructions from the teacher, and then they are supposed to send the clip back to the teacher, yeah, showing that the child is able to do that. And that is a CBC kind of a curriculum, preparing the child not just for passing the education, but for life, literally. So please do not complain and say negative things about the education system. Yeah, do not say negative things about the teacher. You know, I have had sometimes parents, yeah, saying that you know, that teacher, she doesn't even know how to dress. The teacher does not even have a car. What can the teacher teach? Yeah. That teacher does not even understand what they are saying. And that time the child has just gone to ask a simple question. Mwalimu alisema, and then they say, wachana na huyo mwalimu, huyo hata hajui chenye anafanya. What are you planting in your child's mind about that particular teacher? Yeah, they will not respect that teacher. They will not take seriously what the teacher is teaching them. And you know the tragic thing about this? We do not want to teach our children. We have passed our duty of educating the child to the teacher. And then we are dismantling the image of the teacher in front of our children. Where does that leave the child? Okay, so can you partner with the teachers, partner with the Ministry of Education, partner with the school, yeah, so that your child gains a positive attitude towards the formal education, and then they take it seriously, and then you supervise them, and then hand in hand between you, the teacher, and the child, yeah, you produce good results that the child can be able to use. Of course, remember we were saying that flexibility is very, very important. And here, flexibility, I am talking about the various age groups of the children that we have at home. Yeah, so you need to be a little flexible. Probably with the teenagers, you may not need to really follow so much. Yeah, but you need to be able to ask, can I see what you did today? Yeah, and you can ask in a very wise way. Yeah, you can say, oh, I don't know whether your curriculum is still the same as ours. Can I see what you are doing in mathematics, for example? And they bring you the books, and then you look, and then you are like, I can't see what you did today, you know. So be involved in that particular journey, so that your children can benefit maximum from the formal education. Allow me to now talk about the informal education. Remember, I said that the formal education is that education that is institutionalized. Yeah, it is done in a particular institution, and it follows a particular curriculum, and its main agenda is to prepare our children for work or for career. Okay, now in comes the informal education. Informal education occurs outside of a structured curriculum. Yeah? In fact, informal education works through conversation, as in, you have to sit and talk. Then as we are talking, I pick one or two things about, one or two important things from the conversation. Yeah? So it works through conversation, it works through exploration, and it also works through experience. Yeah, so we are talking about if you have to provide informal education to your children, yeah, and in fact informal education prepares the child or the person for the business of living. Yeah, so what we are saying is that outside work, outside career, there is the business of life, everyday living. Okay, and this everyday living requires one to have some information, to have some skills, to have some values, to have some morals, yeah, to be able to live effectively in this world. And therefore, informal education will prepare our children for this business of living. Okay, and we have said that this informal education requires is normally done through conversation, through exploration. You know, exploration is allowing children to try out new things, yeah, try out a new style, try out a new way of doing things, yeah, and then experience. Because in that trying, either when they fail, yeah, and you follow them up, so that you now discuss what brought the failure, what is it that you did or you did not do, yeah, then out of that experience they gain. Okay, so in the book of Proverbs, chapter number 22 and verse 6, okay, it actually talks about train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Okay, so really Proverbs is telling us, prepare your child for life. Yeah, train them when they are young, train them as they grow, so that even when they become old, they will never forget. Yeah, one of the things about teaching a child, and especially by the parent, yeah, through the informal approach, is that the child forms a script in their mind. Okay, a script of how things are done, a script of how life is lived. so that when they get into living their life and they encounter some challenges, they remember. The mind takes them to the script that was written there, and that script provides direction of what needs to be done. Okay? Therefore, when you do not provide opportunity for them to explore, when you do not provide opportunity for them to experience, you are doing your child a disservice. Okay? They learn nothing. They learn nothing about life. Yeah? So even if they get all the grades, even if they get a career path, but when they get to that career, they cannot be able to maneuver life well, they may not end up doing well. Okay? Therefore, let us prepare them. So what are we saying? Parents, make sure that in your conversations, you are giving instructions. Okay? So you need to be able to give instructions to your children. Give instructions of what they need to do. Give instructions of how they need to respond to a particular situation. Give instructions of, how things will be done. And then demonstrate. Okay? Because remember, we have said that it is all about experience. Yeah? So even in that experience, please demonstrate. Sometimes I encounter parents, yeah, who laugh at their children when they cannot be able to do something. Yeah? Ati imagine, nilimwambia apike chapati, nikakuta hajapika. Nikakuta ameweka maji mingi. And then you are laughing at your child. Did you demonstrate? Did you demonstrate how to make chapati? Did you demonstrate how to wash clothes? Or you are just laughing at your child and beating them up that they are not washing their clothes effectively? Did you even demonstrate how to talk? Okay? So, you need to be there to give instructions, to demonstrate, to correct where you need to correct, and to guide where you need to guide. So those are 4 very, very critical things that you must do in the informal education of your child, in training your child the business of living. So allow me to now very quickly talk about the life skills, yeah, that parents must teach their children. These life skills, do not imagine that they will be taught by the teacher. If the teacher teaches them, that is a very good teacher, and they have gone out of their way to teach. But do not imagine that the teacher will teach them. And in any case, sometimes the teacher will teach them, but they will teach them in a way that is not consistent with your value system. Yeah? Like you can imagine, if you are a Christian, and I want to believe I'm talking to Christians of St. Christopher Mathare, but also by extension, other Christians or other faith, but allow me to use Christian as my form of example here. So you are a Christian, and your child is taught how to do something based on the values of another religion. Then when the child comes home, you are wondering, where did they learn this? Yeah? So they may be taught by the teacher, but they may not be consistent to your value system. That is why it is very important that you are the primary teacher, so that you teach your child what you want them to learn for the business of living. So what are these skills? And I will mention them very, very quickly. The first one is basic survival skills, or what Professor Magoha was calling house chores. You know, basic survival. Things like cooking. Your child will need to cook, whether they are in America, whether they are in Australia, or wherever they are. Okay? So do not imagine that your child can buy food all the time. I'm trying to imagine during this COVID-19 period, where some of the countries, they had a total lockdown, which means that you stay in the house, you cook in there. Okay? So teach your children how to cook, how to clean dishes, how to clean the floor, how to clean the toilet. Professor Magoha talked about cleaning the toilet, by the way. How to wash their clothes. You know, we call these basic survival skills. Okay? do not allow your child to get into adulthood and they cannot cook. They cannot cook ugali. I'm not even talking about chapati, because chapati might be complicated. But basic foods, ugali, rice, sukuma wiki, basic. Let your child know some of these things. The second skill, communication. I don't know if you have noticed that life depends on communication. Business of living is all about being able to communicate, and therefore teach your children how to talk. By the way, I read something in the Bible that really baffled me. This is in 1 Corinthians chapter number 14 and verse 9. Of course, the context is the context of talking in the language of the Holy Spirit. But this particular verse caught my eye, and this is what it says. So likewise, you, except you utter by the tongue words easy to be understood, how shall it be known what you are speaking? Imagine. For you shall be speaking into the air. Okay? So if you cannot express yourself through your communication, through your talking, people will not know what you are saying. So let's teach our children how to talk and how to listen. Let's teach our children the skill of respect. Yeah? Respecting others, respecting themselves, respecting the world, respecting God, respecting the environment. That will be taught by the parent. Okay? So please, if you find your child is out there calling people all manner of names and you do nothing, we want to ask you, why are you sleeping on the job? Okay? Then we also have the next life skill, which is the skill of honesty and honoring commitments. Okay? So I have seen parents who are not honest. And sometimes I ask myself, what are you teaching your child? I have had parents who will even tell the child to go and cheat the teacher, to go and cheat the neighbor. Somebody is knocking on the door and you are telling your child, I don't want to be a sicko. Huh? Teach your child honesty and honoring commitments. Teach your child hard work and resilience. And if there is a perfect time for us parents to teach our children these skills, it is during a time like now of COVID-19, when the children are at home and we have all the time. Yeah, we are not stressed by they have to wake up and go to school. This is the perfect time to teach them hard work. Teach them that life, things do not come easy in life. Okay? And teach them resilience, that when you do not succeed, you do not kill yourself. You get up, wipe the dust, and continue. And that will be taught by you, the parent. Teach them time management. So we are not saying that you are telling them that to make a timetable, and then even you yourself do not follow your own timetable. You wake up at whatever time that you want. You don't do your duties and your chores until it is late in the night. What are you teaching your child? Let us teach them money management, so that they can know that, number one, money does not come easy, and number two, we need to plan it well, and we also need to save. Teach them self-control. Some of our children are going out there to steal, joining the gangs, because they do not have self-control. They feel that I want it, and I want it now, and I want it by all means. So let's teach our children self-control. Let's teach them delayed gratification. Those ones of tukule, let us struggle now for the sake of tomorrow. Okay? Teach them flexibility and adaptability. Okay? So that if they find life a little different from what they know, teach them to be flexible so that they are able to fit in. Yeah? And they are able to adjust to what the environment is requiring of them. Teach them healthy eating habits. It's not junk all the time. And it begins with you. If you are eating chips, if you are eating pizza every day, if you are eating unhealthy, that is what you are teaching your child. Yeah? Teach them how to exercise. Teach them humor. How to be happy even when things around are not very, are a bit difficult. But teach them that you can always find something to laugh about. There is always something positive in life. Do you know what you will be doing to your child? You are teaching them skills for life. Okay? And this is what we are calling informal education. So how are you going to do this? Yeah, and I want to say how you are going to do it, plus the skills that you need to have in order to teach your child all this informal education. Number one, I don't know whether you have noticed, role modeling. All these things that we are saying, things like honoring commitments, things like being honest. You do not have to tell your child to be honest. Your child picks from you. Once you are honest, when someone calls you, and you are supposed to meet the person in Nairobi, and they are calling you and you are still here in Mathare, and you are telling the person, Niko hapa Globe, and your child is there. The child is even looking at you. What are you saying? You are already teaching your child that it is okay to tell lies. Okay? So we teach through role modeling. Yeah? When we say delayed gratification, do you have delayed gratification yourself? By the way, can I ask you something? And I know that I am stepping on your toes. How many loans do you have? Do you need all those loans? Or did you just take them because you needed whatever you needed now? Yeah? What about delayed gratification? Do one thing at a time. Yeah? And your child will see. The child will see you saying no to a loan. Yeah? Because you have to finish the other one first. And so role modeling becomes very, very critical. Number two, teaching. We need to be able to give instructions. We need to be able to supervise. We need to be able to correct. And next week, God willing, because we shall be talking about emotional care, I will teach you how to correct a child in a manner that does not damage their emotions. Okay? And then the last one, communication. And remember, the Bible has reminded us that if you do not say something that can be understood, you will be speaking to the ear. Okay? So be able to do all these things, and of course be able to give in time. Yeah, give time, quality time to your children, and then you will be able to teach them the business of living. And then that coupled with the informal or with the formal learning that we talked about, preparation for work and for career, then your child will have a holistic, total development. They will be able to become independent, and they will be good citizens. And then you will celebrate that you are an effective parent. So may God help us to be able to be effective parents, to be able to provide holistic and effective education for our children. And of course, without the help of the Holy Spirit, this might be difficult. And that is why I want to ask that we pray, so that we ask God to guide us and to show us the way. So let us pray. Almighty Father, we continue to thank you for the gift of children. Thank you for the gift of even the time that we have right now during this COVID-19 season, so that we can be able to be with our children. We can be able to be more present in their life, and we can be able to teach them more effectively. Help us. Holy Spirit, you are our teacher. Teach us how to do it. Teach us how to guide our children. Teach us how to communicate. And even help us to be the first role models for our children, oh Lord, so that even as we correct them, that Lord, they will be learning through experience. They will be learning through observing what we are doing. The script that will be written in their heads, oh Lord, will be the correct script, so that they can be able to follow even when we are not there. We thank you for giving us these children, for giving us opportunity, and even for giving us the resources that we need. And where we are lacking in these resources, we pray that you may give them to us, because you are a God who cares. You are a God who desires that we lack no good thing. That is what you tell us in the Bible. And therefore we open our hearts to you, O Lord, so that you can come and teach us, and you can come and provide for us. And we shall be careful to give you glory and honor when we see our children independent, when we see our children as good citizens, and when we see our children becoming responsible for their own lives, and even responsible in your kingdom. And therefore we thank you and we honor you. For it is in Jesus' name we have prayed and we have believed. Amen and amen. Remember to give me feedback. A few people are already doing that, and I want to really thank you for it. And in a special way, I want to thank Holiness, because she always tells me whatever she's learning and how it is going. Kindly just drop your feedback there, or even on the WhatsApp pages of the churches, even on my personal WhatsApp page. Just give me feedback so that we continue this journey together. So God bless you. We'll meet again next week. We shall be looking at how to provide emotional care